Does the Little Grom bring big boom in Tides of Torment? You asked, so I'm giving the Little Grom, in the vein of Little John, another look. How does it work in open field? How does it work in sieges? What is it bringing us? Let's ensure there are no rounds loaded before looking deep down the barrel. Safety first. Recruited for 1400 gold and 350 upkeep on the higher end, an Ultra this war machine comes with 5228 health. Armor of 105 is substantial. Leadership 70 is beefy. Speed 35 and charge speed 42 make this come off as a modern self-propelled gun, although it is bear-drawn artillery. Melee attack begins at 40, which just sounds obscene. Attack interval of 4 seconds is the standard. Splash size very large means almost all multi-entity chariots should qualify, and maximum targets damaged by splash is no more than 3 in pitched combat. Melee defense 28 implies a lack of agility. It's still a lot better than a lot of artillery. Weapon strength 110 is split base 33 and armor piercing 77, with a bonus versus infantry of 20 that, for once, is highly relevant to weapon strength. Though it's to say, this absolutely will help fend off attackers in very close combat. It is difficult to bat and hound to death because of this and the heavy armor, but it is not some kind of close quarters tank. Charge bonus is 25, and given the rest, well, it's very interesting how collision attacks would function because pitched combat melee splash becomes irrelevant and masses 2000. As a matter of fact, I didn't really see much for collision attacks, but that's fine. For ranged, ammunition is the old standard of 22. Range 420 is where you begin. The comparison missile strength is rated down due to reload time, 543 officially, but each actual impact is base 160 and armor piercing 600 damage, with an amusingly token bonus versus large of 25. That reload time is 14 seconds. Total accuracy of 35 is better than the normal starting point, which is 20. Calibration distance 275 meters means it's harder to hit with past that. Calibration area 7 meters means there is drift of significance, but not as bad as the Skull Cannon, and this begins better ameliorated by total accuracy and will get more so as veterancy rises. Penetration cap of very large, absolute max targets penned past the first of 20. So, a flanking shot on an infantry rectangle has potential to truly wreck stuff. Like other Kislev units, it has By Our Blood, has causes fear, and counts as a siege attacker. Of course. It is otherwise very vanilla at this point. In the redline skills, Skilled Craftsman at 3 pips provides plus 12 armor and plus 20% ammunition supply. It's important to note this is the same skill used for war sleds. Rank 7 and up ones benefit from Battle Engineers for ammunition another plus 20%, reload time reduction 10%, which is DPS into your veins, and missile resistance plus 15%. In the tech tree, Toughened Stanchions increases armor by plus 15, which is no joke. Grom's telemetry as plus 15% range, again no joke, and Arabian Fire as plus 15% more ammunition and grants explosion damage to the shots. If it's anything like Harkon's hand cannon, it'll be base-oriented, but that's okay. We have armor piercing covered. So how do we use the Little Grom's big booms? Not that you can't find ways to use magical lures with it and stuff, but it still feels like something of an afterthought in terms of adornments. What it does bring is a shocking level of mobility that lets it take ideal positions, keep up with the charge of infantry, and do SPG-style shoot and scoot tactics if using direct fire. But basically it's not going to outsled the sleds. This is for doing what they can't. Beating the stuffing out of walls and gates from safe or at least safer ranges, provoking enemies into attacking a prepared kill zone, and so on. That last one is pretty important actually. With that level of ammunition buffing, the Grom needs time to shoot or a favorable circumstance for its army. If you can't get the first, create the second. It's also a really good hammer to use against single entities, and penetrating massive amounts of enemies isn't so bad either. It's one big gun versus 4 smaller ones with a great cannon unit, and its obscene levels of overkill against normal infantry. So you want to pick targets worthy of the shots. Monstrous infantry are a good example. Dragons? Yeah, stuff like that. Knock a giant or 2 down. You can do that stuff and buy time for your other ranged units. It's really not complicated, but the Grom being this tough and being able to take care of itself solo in some situations, like with common bats and wolves, does help. It's just that to make the true best out of it, you will probably have to explore magic synergies, because it's just a ranged beat stick otherwise. That's not a bad thing, I'm just saying it's very straightforward. The reload appears to take place on a timer regardless of the Grom being in motion, so you can reposition bear-drawn artillery and have it fire as soon as you settle into a new place. That's scoot, then shoot. If you feel your shots aren't accurate enough at really long range and aren't being especially punished, this is an option. At any rate, it's much less vulnerable than a ton of competition, so it's a relatively safe option. Just save it for knocking giants on their rumps, if that's what you need, because your Kossars can't. Take care, and have fun delivering big hurt.